Gentlemen, sometimes abiding the law takes longer and costs more than you expect. We're still here at the Bikers Church, but hey, interestingly enough, where there was this hate speech emblazoned upon the building with somebody's spray can, it's now gone. And one of the coolest stories around this is one of the freedom fighters saw it, came up at when they woke up at 8 o'clock in the morning, it was off, and one of the freedom fighters had cleaned it. And then the city offers to clean it up, but it was too late. We already got the job done. Thankfully, just before we take off here, we get a chance to interview Melissa, who is the pastor's wife of the Biker Church here in Vanier. So let's see what she has to say. Hello, Melissa.
Hey, everybody.
How you doing?
I'm doing great.
You look great. You feeling good?
Yeah, I'm getting over a little sunburn from the weekend, but
right.
Yeah, on fire for Jesus.
Well, that's better than the snow burn we got a couple of months ago.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, for real.
Yes, it is.
So talk to me about this weekend. I know that the Bikers Church has been here a heck of a lot longer than the bikers who came in on the weekend. So how about you give us a little history of the church, what kind of work you guys are into, and then the happenings this weekend.
Okay, so the history of the church. Rob and I were actually part of the team that planted this church 22 years ago. A little more than that, actually. No, 25. And so we were here for the planting of it. And then he got a job in Toronto. So we moved, packed up our whole life, moved there. He was diagnosed with cancer 3 months later, which brought us back to Ottawa. And I was 5 months pregnant with our first child. And so we came back to Ottawa for him to get treatment because we didn't know anybody in Toronto. And then it just turned out that we stayed in Ottawa. And we went back to the big church that we were from.
Okay.
And 6.5 years ago, we got a call from this church, from the pastor that was here at the time. He needed an associate pastor. And I actually grew up in this neighborhood. My grandparents lived on this street. I went to school here. All my friends were from here, my family. And so as soon as he got the call, I knew we were coming because I have an affinity for this neighborhood. And it's a really rough neighborhood, actually.
I heard.
Yeah, it's really rough. There's crack houses all around, prostitutes on every corner. It's pretty rough. There's a lot of poverty here, a lot of broken people. We've got 2 city shelters within 6 blocks of here. So yeah, there's a lot of broken people. So we came back 6.5 years ago to pastor, and that pastor actually moved on, and we became the lead pastors. And they do so many great things here, and I can't take responsibility for most of it, for any of it maybe. They've run a free store here for many, many years. It's like a value village.
Okay.
We get donations from people all over the place, and we give everything away for free.
Wow.
That's
So
good to know.
I know.
Yeah, that's happening right now, actually.
It is right now?
Yeah, 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Oh my goodness. Maybe
We have
we'll
free
go in.
store. Yeah, I can take you in.
Yeah?
I'll just have to let the ladies know.
No problem.
So we have free store. Pre-COVID, we had a drop-in every Tuesday. The community would come, hang out. We have pool tables and dartboards,
Yeah, I
and
noticed.
just a cool atmosphere. So we would serve a really delicious, nutritious meal. So before COVID hit, we were getting about 250 people every Tuesday. Yeah, all volunteer, all donated, everything. Yeah, really incredible. We've been a hub for the community. So we got free store, we had drop in. When COVID hit, our people started to really suffer, as everybody has. Marriages were under incredible duress. Suicides, overdoses. We have a lot of people that struggle with addiction here, so they were calling and saying, I gotta be in church. I can't be alone anymore. I can't go to NA, I can't go to AA. I have no groups to go to. Everything was shut down. Everything. And they were starting to really lose it. So there was one guy, actually, his name was Shannon, and he texted me one day when we were only allowed to have 10 people in the building, and he said, I gotta be in church today, Melissa. So I showed my phone to Rob and I said, what are we doing? If we're gonna be 1 over, let's just be 100 over. So let's make it worth it, So we just started to tell people, if you need to be in church, you can come. The benefits far outweighed the risk for us because of what we were seeing with people, how badly people were struggling.
And this was in the middle of...
This was in the second lockdown, yeah. We locked down the first time. We did all the things. We got the hand sanitizer and the arrows on the floor and the plexiglass. We did all of the things.
Played by all the rules, did all the things.
We did. Yeah. We did not enforce masks because we have a lot of people here that deal with serious trauma. And it is not easy for them. It wasn't easy for them. And, to go get groceries wasn't easy for them.
Can you talk about that for a second? Because this is actually something that I brought up to the attention of somebody that suggested that I wear a mask. And I said, well, what about those people who have been abused, restrained, not able to open their mouth?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's something
That's
people
a very
don't think
real
about.
thing. And one girl that we actually had here, and this for Rob was the thing. There was a girl here that had been rescued out of the sex trafficking industry who... she had been coming here for quite a few months, and we couldn't know where she lived because she was in a safe house. She didn't have a cell phone, so we couldn't contact her. So, when the lockdown happened, everything goes online. You're contacting all your people, via text and email and calling them, and we didn't have any of that for her. And so her grandmother actually called us 2 months into the lockdown and said that she had relapsed and she overdosed. She died. That was the thing. Yeah. That was it. And so we know that was a struggle for her, to be confined. And you really don't know. It's not rebellion from everybody that can't wear a mask or that won't wear a mask. For some people, it's trauma. Yet
your allowing them to come in without masks would have been viewed by many as an act of rebellion, and probably, I'm
totally
guessing,
was.
You got some lashback on that.
Tons.
Like what?
Well, look, we've been targeted many times. We've had Nazi signs glued to our doors. Both Rob and I, our lives have been threatened. They've threatened to burn the church down. And this weekend you saw what was all over the church. 3 big tags of, no fascists here. Tacks all in this very driveway. That our volunteers cleaned up really quickly. Our front doors were egged, so got here extra early on Sunday morning to clean all the egg off the front door, which is not easy, by the way.
Oh, gee, when it dries.
When it dries,
oh,
yeah.
I think that's why they do it, because it's it sticks.
It is. So but honestly, I live in Canada, and the Bible talks about being persecuted. Why would I ever be persecuted in Canada for my faith, for living, here comes a car, for living out my faith and being a believer? When would that ever happen here? But
I didn't see it.
Places are persecuted. I'm not comparing myself.
Of course.
But this has been a really hard season. But the fruit that has come of it, the lives that have been transformed by the gospel, by the love of Jesus, by, the world is saying, stay alone, keep your mask on, keep your distance. Families are being torn apart because of this, because one's vaccinated, one doesn't want to be. Then you can't come for Christmas, you can't come for Mother's Day, you can't, it's happening in there's not one family that's not been touched by some aspect of this, not one family. We had a beautiful young family, very high functioning people, they're not in poverty, nothing like that. Their 6-year-old daughter was diagnosed with clinical depression, and they couldn't understand why. They both had great jobs, they have a beautiful home, they're really a great, solid, healthy family. They started coming to our church, and 1 week it was over for the daughter. She was completely cured, because she was here seeing people's faces, being hugged, being loved on, and playing with friends, and that's all it took. That's all it took. So honestly, I just feel like for the Shannons and the Emilys and this little girl, all day long, we'll do that all day long for the lives that have been transformed. So that's...
Okay, so just the one thing we didn't touch on that people will probably want to know about is, was there any affiliation with the biker church and the biker thing that happened this weekend? Or is that just kind of coincidental?
Well, we're the only bikers church in Ottawa.
You're the only biker church I've ever heard of. I didn't even know
there are a couple of more. There's a few more. There's many more in the States, but we're the only bikers church in Ottawa. So when Rolling Thunder came through, I mean, they contacted us. And I mean, after 2 years of like doing this, you know, being on the hill, and I mean, I can walk down the street and say, hey, there's Jim, you know, like I know who you are.
Yeah.
And so you make friends, and people contacted us and said, like, you know, what are you guys doing? And we're having church. It's business as usual.
You guys just did it what you always do.
We literally did what we always do.
Literally no difference.
No different.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, you know, even when the trucker convoy was here, we were kind of painted like we were being complicit in some kind of, I don't know, racist, misogynistic thing.
Yeah, right. Part of this fringe minority.
Yeah, but you know what we did before COVID was open our doors to whomever needed to come in. When you come in for food, for a meal, for, you know, counsel, for anything, just a place to sit and be quiet, to play pool, we don't ask you like where you were last night. We're not judging anybody. You can come. You don't have to wear a suit here. The first time you came, I remember exactly what you were wearing.
I don't remember what I was wearing.
Oh my gosh, what was he wearing?
What was I wearing?
He was wearing these really cool harem pants.
Oh.
A t-shirt that said, I love being weird, I think.
Oh,
Something
I
like
love
that.
weirdos.
I love weirdos.
I love weirdos, yeah.
And your thing that you wear on your head.
Oh, the flowy, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know what? Welcome to Bikers Church.
Come here. I felt right away that was going to be the jam. I mean, that's on the front end. If you get anything from Bikers Church, is that these guys, you know, they express themselves. So you're not going to go in there and get judged for expressing yourself.
That's the way the
for
world
sure.
should be, don't you think? Like, wow, you guys are setting such a great example.
You know what?
real.
We do church in a hard place with hard people. And so we're kind of unconventional in how we minister to people.
Okay, so that leads me to another question.
Yep.
How do you remain soft doing a hard job with hard people?
Jesus? For real.
What does that mean to you?
Well, he's my measuring stick, right? He's what I measure to. So if he could take, you know, a prostitute who had been caught in the act of adultery and say, your sins are forgiven, you know, and look at the Pharisees and say, you who is without sin, you go ahead and cast the first stone.
Yeah.
If he can do that, then that's what I need to do. So that woman, that's one of my favorite stories about Jesus in the Bible. If she gets to experience God's love, and he says that I'm actually no different than her, who am I? Who am I? My job is to love people. And so I loved people. I loved whoever. If they were truckers, I don't ask people what their occupation is when they come in the door. I don't care. You're going to get the same love no matter what you do, no matter where you were. It's just how it is here. So, yeah, we love people. And I think God made us. Actually, people tell me all the time, God made you for this. And it's very true. He made me for this kind of church. You know, I told my girlfriend, who's at the other church that we came from, which is a fabulous church in this city, but it's a little more traditional.
Yep. Yeah.
It's like, you know, you get something from IKEA, you take it out of the box and it's not the right thing. You can never get it back in the box. It's like, you can't put me back in that box anymore.
Because you love weirdos too,
I love weirdos.
Of course you do.
I love
'cause we're all
broken
kinda weird.
people.
We're all
I
kinda
love
weird.
broken people.
Yeah,
I was broken once and God, like, he literally put my life back together. So, I feel like I have a measure of compassion that is, he's given it to me to love broken people. So,
What a beautiful example.
Yeah, I wake up in the morning, like, and I say, God, like, what do you have for me today? You know, and I don't always do the right thing and I don't always feel the right thing, but we were talking the other day and I was like, even if they're not good, they deserve love. God gives me a second chance every single day. Every one of us on this earth wakes up with the same need for God's grace and mercy. Mother Teresa, the prostitute on the corner, a murderer, a saint, all of them, the same. God looks down, we're all equal. It's an equal playing field. So I never can be so arrogant to think like I don't, you know, I'm better. I'm not better. So.
Well, you're damn fine, let me tell you that much. And one thing, a compliment that I heard coming out of the service, because there was national news outlets and
All
everything
over. Yep.
covering it. And I understand they didn't even report it as a hate crime as they might have if it would have been on a different type of building, but rather just as graffiti. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is correct.
Okay,
yeah,
well.
it's mischief. It's, yeah.
So, but one of the coolest compliments I heard was that your husband through the sermon didn't mention a thing. That's not. We're not here to talk about that.
No.
We're here to talk about our faith.
And you know what, Jim? That is one thing that we have done consistently throughout this thing. I have been very vocal on Facebook. Okay, on my social media, I have been very vocal about freedom. What that stems from is the people that I'm serving every day. It's the brokenness that I'm seeing. It's the pieces that I go and I pick up. I'm not doing it because I'm rebellious. I'm actually doing it from a place of love. And I need to say that the volunteers that we have at this church, Rob and I, truly would be nothing without them. And there was all these things in place here that the people who were the founders of the church, and when it was planted, that was like, it's the mission of the church, it's the mandate of the church. So it's not Rob and I, we don't make this place great.
Right.
It's everybody together, but it's the presence of God. And there are people that come in every single week and they can't even get off the carpet at the front door. And they're like, I have goosebumps. I don't even know what this feeling is here. Like, I can't even, bawling their eyes out. And we have Kleenex all over the room because we know that that's going to happen to people. That's not something we can manufacture.
Yeah. Somebody came out and instead of having goosebumps, they says, I got God bumps.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? 36 people gave their hearts to Jesus on Sunday morning.
Wow. You guys had an attendance of like 400. So that was like 10%.
We can fit 450 people in here with fire regulation.
Yeah.
So we had our volunteers at the front door counting people. We closed the doors.
Yep.
At a certain
I remember.
point.
I wasn't allowed back in. I remember.
Yeah. They gave your seat away.
Yeah, that's okay.
So we want to comply, you know, like so we set up our motorcycle lounge in the basement. We had the courtyard already with picnic tables and chairs, and we had 450 hot dogs. That's what they cooked inside, was 450 hot dogs.
Funny.
Yeah, so.
Do you know what the total attendance might have been?
Our best guess is about 700.
Wow.
With what was in the motorcycle, the alley, the other side.
Have you ever seen that type of attendance before?
No.
Ah.
But pre-COVID,
yeah,
we were like, whoa, this is amazing. Wow. And every week consistently there are like 350 people.
Unintended consequences. Whoever put all of this in motion didn't realize it's going to band us all together, help us find each other. And I'm glad I found you.
Yeah,
thank you. You've been nothing
same.
but gold. I mean, you've thank you.
Loving people,
love you.
Jim.
You're amazing. You're so
Loving
damn
people.
good at it. You're so damn good at it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesus.
Oh,
He
beautiful.
sanded all my rough edges, let me tell you.
Oh, yeah.
He did. Yeah.
Sanded
he
all
keeps
your rough
doing.
edges?
Yeah, sands all my rough edges. Yeah, work in progress.
This, Jesus, when he said, you should eat my body and drink my blood, I often thought that to be quite a controversial statement, probably to the people around him, if they took it quite literally and talking about cannibalism.
Sure. Yeah.
But recently I've been thinking about this, and I've been thinking about those who pick up the cross of Jesus and what they have to do. And what would Jesus do is a great question, and that's kind of how I look at things. Jesus, just so you know, was one of my mentors when I was young. I didn't have any people mentors, so I made up in my mind a mentor, a cross between Anthony Robbins, the late night, and Jesus.
Okay.
Because I loved all the things, Jesus giving his life on behalf of his friends, all the things. And then Anthony Robbins, he's like a guru of, all that
Feel
stuff.
good, positive.
And
thinking.
and I've had several experiences, which I'll talk to another time about. But this eating of my body and drinking of my blood, to me, that means take his imitation.
Them, for they know not what they do. So how do I hold a grudge? How do I stay angry? How do I be, I was angry on Sunday morning. I was so angry.
Oh, because of the damage and stuff.